Hey everybody, ChickenMan on the Run, episode 16 is what you're about to watch. Sorry there's been a little bit of a lull in posts. I was in Santa Fe for a couple of weeks and now I'm back in LA and I'm going to start posting these things up. So this is with Clinton at Redbeard Coffee in Dodge City, Kansas. This is first of 3 interviews that I did in Dodge City. Clinton has an interesting story to tell because, well, number one, him and I spent time in Kansas City, so we got that connection. But also, Dodge City accounts for about 25% of America's beef production, and the meat packing plants got really hard there, hit really hard there. So we talk about that. We talk about coffee. We talk about his faith. He's also a pastor at a church. And then we talk about how the National Guard came in to help with the testing there. So it's pretty interesting. Probably most people don't know a lot about Dodge City except for some Wyatt Earp type of Boot Hill lore. And so you get to see some of the people there and talk about, there's a lot of immigrant population as well, which is pretty interesting. So we do talk about George Floyd, the effect on the local immigrant community there as well. So hope you tune into this one and are able to watch it through to the end. Again, go to my YouTube and subscribe there. It's my name, Grant Redwine, aka ChickenMan, and you can watch the rest of the interview there, or you can just go to chickenmanontheRun.com. All right, I hope you enjoy this episode and the ones to follow. It's 15, 16. Okay. Hey everybody, ChickenMan on the Run, episode 16. I'm here in Dodge City, Kansas, with Clinton, aka Redbeard, the owner of Redbeard Coffee. And how long have you guys been here? What's going on? How's Dodge?
Dodge City's here. It's Wild West. We live here and we live in it. Yeah, we've been here about 2.5 years, a little over that. Yeah, kind of just a little hometown coffee shop. Brought a little bit of the city with us. Nice. I learned all my coffee game in Kansas City, so awesome. Wanted to bring a little bit of that to the Wild West, as it were.
So obviously the hot button topic is coronavirus. How's that affected you guys in Dodge City, you personally, the shop?
Man, at the beginning of it, I would have not thought it was going to affect us in any way, shape, or form. But sometimes we're isolated out here.
Right.
We're separate from a lot of the metros.
How big is Dodge City?
Dodge City's it's about 30,000 people, but we're just far enough in the Midwest or in the country or whatever that we just kind of seem insulated from a lot of things.
Right.
But I will say it has drastically affected us. It took longer than a lot of places, but once it kind of got here, it got into the beef packing plants, and then it spread really, really fast.
Oh, interesting.
It doesn't affect any of the beef or meat production as much as the people, though, because then it started slowing things down there, which, we produce 25% is what I've heard of the U.S. beef.
Oh, wow.
In Dodge, in Garden City, and Liberal. Okay. Like, that's a huge percentage.
Yeah, I smell all the feedlots riding through from Denver.
Yeah, for real. But it has affected us in a lot of businesses in our city, very, very much so. Yeah. We started testing drastically at a high rate comparatively to a lot of cities and metros because of the packing plants and the amount of beef production. Right. They brought the National Guard in and set up testing stations and quarantine stations very quickly.
Do you know around what time that was?
That would have been. It wasn't early, but it was probably mid. It was right about the shutdown time for Kansas, which I think was mid-March.
Okay. It was like March 13th. Was the Friday the 13th. That was when everything started.
Yeah.
And then it was like
so mid-late March
or so.
Yeah, it was mid-late March. Then when they actually started shutting us down.
Okay.
I think. I can't remember.
Yeah, it's fine.
That's bad. It's all blur.
Well, it seems like really long ago.
Oh, it does.
Even though
when you sit in your house every day or you don't have nearly the things to do, all of a sudden time just slows down and it feels like an eternity. But they started shutting things down and then they brought in the National Guard and they set up at one of the big expo centers here, and just like we were testing an exorbitant number per thousand than anybody in the whole state.
If you had symptoms or just anybody could get tested?
Yeah, anybody could get tested. Okay. You didn't have to have symptoms, because at first when it was first kind of like a thing around the country, that is what was happening. People would try to go and get tested or whatever, and they would say no because, well, you're not showing it this number of symptoms. Because early on, there were specific symptoms.
Right.
Well, as we all know, everything's changed day to day, it feels like. But I digress from that. Ultimately, when it comes to personally, business, and our community, which those are the three most important things here. We're all about community and the community of Dodge City, the community that we foster and we build in our shop. Yep. And we're about our families and this family. And, we were really fortunate. We have minimal space. So as far as business goes, even with the quote unquote shutdown, we fell in the essential business category.
Oh, good. So you never had to close?
No, because we're technically a food industry, so you can stay open. And because we're kind of a grab and go anyway, for a lot of people, people just kind of made it their norm. We pushed all the tables away and like kind of roped them off, left the doors open. It was springtime, so it was really nice. Right. So we just left the doors open all day long, and people would just come in, grab and go. Okay. And we had DoorDash using for our curbside already. Cool. We already had delivery, things like that. So we kind of rolled with that. But for part of it, the part that we were maybe lacking in, and it kept us up by the 20% maybe we could have lost potentially.
So you didn't see an impact on your bottom line, or
we did. April was March or April. I can't remember. March kind of toward the end dipped. April was tough for the most part. But we were fortunate, we were able to get the payroll protection for employees. And we didn't have to let anybody go or reduce hours. I ended up trying to give everybody a little raise just to kind of keep them incentivized to, stay at it. Because, when people's fear comes in the way, or starts to rise, like we listen to it. And, for us, I think we've always tried to be like that, a little bit of beacon of hope or joy in someone's life. Because it may be the only thing they have in a day. And so we get 5 minutes of, we can share some joy and things like that. That's what we'll do. So we love that. Personally, the isolation due to like people's pre-existing conditions or respiratory issues, or maybe they were just more sensitive to potentially getting something. It definitely slowed down relationships and the amount you can have people in your homes really, or if you did, it was like very faux pas maybe. Just things like that.
You weren't throwing huge parties?
No, not at all. And also, I'm a pastor here right across the street, and so to stop service.
Oh, how did it?
We just stopped service. For us, we have such a mixed group, and we have people that do work in the plants. We have people that are high exposure rate. We have a lot of elderly people. We have young people. We just have people from all walks of life, and so we looked at it as maybe this is an opportunity to just kind of detox a little bit and just let, so we would put out videos weekly, encouraging people, give them a little bit of the word, give them some joy. And then, here recently, instead of opening we still have not opened as a church.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We decided to continue doing what we're doing, but on top of that, we added in, house churches. We're trying to let people do house church on their own.
People are grouping.
And the idea that invite people into your home now that it's okay, or what you feel safe and comfortable with, and share a meal or just spend time together. Yeah, that's cool. Maybe read something that's inspirational or pray for one another. Yeah. The basics of what we feel is what the Lord asks us to do. Okay. Pray for each other, love each other, encourage each other.
Right on.
That's it.
So so you guys were able to stay open. Mm-hmm. You still have your church goes. What were the government mandates on that stuff? So you could open the church if you wanted.
Yeah,
you're being safe.
Yeah, there was that, and we had some local people that tried to local churches that tried to band together and go after the state.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, sue the governor for wrongful disclosure of religious organization. Okay. We did not want to be any part of that. Yeah. Because ultimately, even again, our beliefs are that it's not about that building and whether or not we have a service in it. Our beliefs are in loving each other and taking care of people. So we can do that from our home. Right. And we can do it safely and without causing a stink with, whatever.
So the rules here, you never had to close the shop. You just had to keep.
Yeah. We were able to keep the
people sit.
Right.
And all that.
Right. They didn't want congregation of people. And then it was a slow open. Kansas was a little bit slower, especially because of places like us in Kansas City where the numbers were higher.
Spikes or whatever.
Yeah. Which now there's other places in Kansas and in all states that are all of a sudden spiking.
I know, and I'm traveling through all of them right now. It's like this might be a bad idea. We'll find out later. So no more masks here, I noticed.
No, the masks have always
requirement.
Masks have always been a personal choice.
Oh, they were never required here.
No requirement.
Really?
No.
So you guys don't use them in the shop, obviously.
No. It was again even with essential businesses. CDC, even the food and drug, food. Oh my gosh.
FDA.
Well, yeah, like the Kansas Department of Agriculture, which governs food here.
Okay, gotcha.
It was never a mandate. It was a suggestion. Like they wanted you to do things like that.
Right.
I looked at it as, face masks, I guess, could be prudent if you had symptoms or if you felt like you could be exposed.
Yeah.
We have so much distance from our people because we're all behind the bar and they're leaving and going.
Oh, that's good.
We looked at it as we're not touching anything. And for us, we're washing our hands 50 times a day.
Right.
We felt like our risk was low enough. For me, gloves, they're kind of a false security because I've been to places where they're just wearing them and touching everything and there's no disregard for me. Yeah. So it's not for me. But I'm like, well, if I wash my hands and don't touch my face. Anyway, so that's the
basis of it. Yeah.
That's the posture we took.
Are you guys going to change anything moving forward in the shop and at church yourself?
In some ways, I'm sure things will somewhat change, but at the same time, I think people. What we have found running the church in here, we are people of relationship. Yeah, we're societal people. We want to be together. We want to be a part of things, and so to put limitations on how we do that, like hugging, handshaking, it's not in our nature. Yeah, it's not in our design. Yep. We're tribe people. We have our tribes, our groups, our connections, our communities, whatever you want to call them, and that's what we're about. Yeah.
What if you don't mind, I want to pivot into the George Floyd murder a little bit, and what has that affected you guys at all? Has it affected your church? How are you looking at it? Sure.
There's always effect from things, no matter what. We had a couple of like, I didn't want to call them protests. They were kind of put out as protests here. Yeah, here in Dodge. Yeah, we had some demonstrations, but a lot of it was very life-giving here. Oh, cool. I was really happy and excited about that. Actually, the first one that I had heard about was actually organized by two teens here at the high school. And they did a fantastic job. They brought a lot of churches together, the police department. They brought a lot of people together to say, that's not what we're about. We're not about hate. Yeah. We're not about hate. We're about, loving people and all people. And so, I think for me personally, I think it's really easy to see fear come in. It's really easy to see like a false agenda that's really not there. Yeah. But like we read in the Bible, the enemy comes to steal and kill and destroy, and so Jesus did. So as long as it doesn't look like that, we're not doing those things, and so we don't partner with that. We don't agree with any of the things that are anywhere close to hate or segregation or it's not love. Yeah. This
is a pretty ethnically diverse area for being in the middle of Kansas.
Yeah, it is. The plants have done that. Yeah, done a lot of that. I mean, as far as different groups of people from different countries. Yeah. I mean, just all ethnicities. We have tons of different ethnicities. And it's great, especially for a little town of 30,000 people.
It always trips me out. Like riding through, and I'm like, all of a sudden, downtown Dodge is very small, but I'll turn a corner and I'm like, I feel like I'm in LA all of a sudden. Yeah. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, we got tons of little shops awesome. That are like little shops with, they're so cultural. Yeah, they very are. I mean, whether it be there's a lot of Somalian population, Vietnamese, Guatemalan, it's great. Yeah. It's great. Cuban. We have a great Cuban population. I mean, it's great. So, like these countries, and they bring something special to our little melting pot called Dodge City. but personally, I think I I've told somebody this before. Like, I would have never ever considered myself racist in any way, shape, or form. Right. And I don't think I am. I had a really great discussion with a friend. He's one of the county administrators here, and we're just having an open dialogue. And part of that dialogue was the fact that he's like, I never have this discussion with people because I feel like it's written off. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't think that's real or whatever. He's experienced that kind of quote unquote racism or like denial of such. Yeah. And he's like, well, but that's what I felt. You can't deny me what I felt.
What ethnicity is he?
He's African American. Okay. Yeah.
And he's saying, I have personally felt racism.
He's actually half. His mom is white. Yeah. And he's experienced racism here at his previous job, and he's one of the top guys at the county. Yeah. But he gave me perspective and a heart change that I just never really had to have new compassion, new understanding that other ethnicities, have, and are like for other ethnicities. And I was like, man, again, I would never say that I was maybe racist or like that I had racial maybe prejudices, or so to speak. But I think I didn't have enough compassion and or understanding for what other people go through.
Your eyes are open a little more. That's the consensus with a lot of people, white folks, I'm going to say, that I've talked to is it's like, holy crap, I'm not paying attention. Yeah. It's like, I'm not aware of this enough. So right. That's awesome.
But I think we have an opportunity for my wife and I, we see it as an opportunity to just never let someone of color be any factor in how we love them whatsoever. We don't even consider, it's not even a consideration. And we do that by never really bringing race into the equation, into the conversation, so to speak. Like when it comes to anything, even the simplest things of like cultural differences, we talk about it being from a country, not a color. Yeah. Like in this country, they like these types of foods, or they have these traditions, or believe this, or whatever. And it becomes less of a thing about color, because I don't think it's about the country. I think it tends to be about a color, but I think it's just an old mentality that is.
I hope it's starting to die completely.
I believe it is.
I feel like that's
in some
the
places.
change we're starting to see is it's like, oh wait, there are still people that are like, okay, it's time to root it out.
And I think I think it's a smaller percentage than it was 5-10 years ago. Yeah, and it'll always get smaller. And I think it's up to us and how we raise our children and the next generations, and to change
speaking out when you see it.
Yeah, exactly. Like he said, one way to like change. My friend JD, he said one way to kind of like change someone's perspective on racism or stop it is like, say someone uses some sort of stereotype, or makes a joke or a comment, and it's anywhere racially based. Like he's like, ask them a simple question, like, why do you think that's funny?
Oh,
and I'm like,
I would go a little more aggressive and be like, dude, what's your problem? Right. Shut them down.
Well, and that's part of it. I think that's part of it.
Why'd you say that?
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
Okay.
But I think the other part of that was, he just said, it just makes them think.
It comes from a place of understanding.
Yeah,
as well.
It just makes them pause and go, because nobody wants to be called out.
Right.
Nobody wants to be called out. And so if nothing else, next time they either won't tell that joke or say that thing, or they'll definitely think about it again and go, they may or may not. Yep.
Well,
but it's one opportunity.
All this is a slow process. Like we all want change immediately,
right?
But it is that continual. Like every time you hear something, every time you just break people down a little bit, right? And educate,
for sure.
and hopefully we all move forward. Would you? Let's see. I think we've kind of covered everything. Is there anything you want to add, or any thoughts you have? Or? No, I'm good. Well, I appreciate your time.
I guess the one thing that I really kind of gained a perspective of, there's two things that I feel like are lacking in today's society, I think, and it's something that is very easily resolved.
Okay.
first is, and I think it's foremost is just that we really love each other.
Yeah.
We love people genuinely. There's no agenda. There's no right, wrong, up or down. Like love is love. Love has no requirements. Like true love has zero requirements. And I think if we could like get that back to the forefront of our minds, a lot of things would change.
Yeah, for sure.
Number two in that, the Lord just really impressed on me that we live in a fatherless generation.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of fathers, and I'm not talking just dads. I'm talking present, teaching, training, loving, participating fathers.
Yeah.
You know, that they want to be there. They want to see their children do better than them. They want to see and not just their own children,
right?
But like we have an opportunity to father the people around us, be it children or young people, whatever. We have an opportunity and to really like love them and call them higher.
Yeah,
because everybody's capable. Every person is capable of great things and doing something that brings life to the people around them and themselves.
Yeah.
And they're all important. Everyone's important. Every person. And so I guess, you know, I constantly just feel my heart crying out for fathers that are good fathers, to not just father your own children, but father the people around you.
Yeah.
You know, lead them well. So,
dude, I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Anything you want to promote? Redbeard Coffee, Redbeard Coffee, obviously.
I mean, we love to promote our business, but we, you know, the Lord was going to do what He's going to do with it. I trust Him. I trust Him completely, and I believe that, you know, it's videos like these. It's people speaking their heart. Like, you know, it's not about this place. It's about the people. It's about what we do with it. It's about how we love people, and the Lord will give us as much time as we need for this thing, and we'll go to the next. Right. And if it's just growing this, fantastic. If it's not, fantastic. Like, it's going to be great, and we're going to have fun.
I love it. I love the positive attitude.
Heck yeah.
All right. Thank you, Clinton.
Absolutely.
Appreciate your time. ChickenMan episode 16 is a wrap. That was great, buddy.
That was fun. That was good.
Thank you.